Hi, Andrew Bell here, and I'm very pleased to be with you again. As I mentioned previously, we launched the annual property report on the 24th of January at the event, and I committed that I would highlight segments of that property report amongst my fortnightly contact with you. So let's have a look at the first point. There are 5 fundamentals that are the foundation drivers of the property market, and we'll look at each of those over the next couple of months. First up is the Australian economy. We know the health of the economy is directly related to real estate. When people are prosperous, they can and they will buy real estate, whether it's been another home or an investment property. Now, although the mining sector has no way breathed its last breath, we are past the construction phase, and now with low commodity prices, there's been a significant slowdown. Whilst we're likely never to see another mining boom like the one we experienced, it's still a really important part of our economy. So the answer going forward for Australia is moving to the rapidly expanding, internationally sought after services sector. It's estimated that the service industry is worth about $163 billion in annual exports, just through to our Asian neighbours alone by 2030. And that will support over 1 million new jobs. Whilst we totally rely on China for our resources boom, we are equally dependent on China in just about every other dimension of our economic activity. Areas such as tourism, the education industry, engineering, and so on. Now, China itself is in transition from a credit-fueled, export-driven economy to one that is far more reliant on household consumption. And as a result, we're going along for the ride. It's just a matter of scale. There's 24 million of us and about 1.4 billion Chinese. So that's where the big game is. Economic news has dominated the media recently, but there's a big difference between the economy itself and the federal government's budget issues, which is what seems to be dominating the news of late. There's no question there are major budget issues, and we're simply spending more than we are earning. But let's have a closer look at the economy itself. Up on screen now is the latest GDP graph. You can see there the gross domestic product climbed 0.9% in the 3 months to September 30, pushing the year-on-year rate to a solid 2.5%. The Reserve Bank has highlighted a number of very green shoots. Australian exports posted a surprise jump, the biggest rise in 15 years on the tail end of last year. There was a rise in job vacancies and a fall in unemployment. Housing construction has provided a big boost to economic activity, and rising business confidence is seen right across the board. There's rising consumer confidence. There's been increased business borrowing for investment, which is a great sign, and rising infrastructure spending. There's increased spending on retail, construction, transport and services. The Reserve Bank Governor has said that he is very optimistic about a business-led spending revival. The services sector, which constitutes 3/4 of the economy, has experienced strong growth. The December 15 mid-year financial report sent mixed messages. The economy surprising on the upside, yet the budgetary position is deteriorating. Hence all of the discussions we're seeing at present on taxation. The low Australian dollar has been particularly beneficial to services exports, tourism, education, and has discouraged imports. The low Australian dollar has been essential to stimulate the resources and general export sector of the economy. The Reserve Bank of Australia, Treasury and most economists agree that Australia's growth in the next 12 months will be somewhere between 2.5% and 3%. Now, that's not spectacular, but it's still very, very positive. You know, Australia is still maintaining the enviable record of no recession for 25 continuous years. So the general consensus is that we are still building momentum coming out of the global financial crisis, but there's really a lot to be happy about in vast comparison to how it was previously, and certainly great growth in the second half of 2015. We still have a lot of work to do in this transition from our mining-driven economy into our broader-based economy, but we're on track. Look, I'm also very proud to advise that following being named the Gold Coast Business Excellence Award winner in 2015 in the services sector, we've just been a finalist for the 6th time in the Real Estate Institute of Queensland Annual Awards. We've actually won, on an unprecedented 5 occasions, Queensland's Best Large Agency, something that we're extremely proud of and has never been done before by a Queensland agent. We've also won on 3 occasions the title as Queensland's Community Service Agent of the Year. As I reported in my last edition, sales across the board have been incredibly strong, with over $87 million in sales in January. And although we cleared a mighty lot of stock out of the market, In the January period, we're pleased to see there's strong activity continuing throughout February, particularly in our commercial segment of our market, where next week we have the big commercial event auction on the 25th of February. I'm sure we'll have plenty of news to report coming out of that. Just fascinating, I guess a breaking news story is that yesterday alone in our projects area, in a 5-hour period, there were 14 sales. Gives you some indication just how strong the market is. Well, I look forward to seeing you in a fortnight's time with the next instalment out of our annual Gold Coast Property Report. Until then, have a good 2 weeks.